The European Union stands at a crossroads, its commitment to supporting Ukraine amidst the ongoing conflict with Russia facing unprecedented challenges. The economic fallout from the war, coupled with internal political divisions, has placed a significant strain on the bloc's unity and financial capacity. As the conflict enters its third year, questions linger about the EU's ability to maintain its current level of support for Ukraine, particularly in the face of potential US disengagement. Amidst this backdrop of economic uncertainty, Josep Borrell, the EU's foreign policy chief, has made bold statements about the bloc's readiness to lead support for Ukraine if the United States were to scale back its involvement. While Borrell's words are intended to project strength and resolve, they also betray a growing concern within the EU about the long-term sustainability of its support for Ukraine. Internal political divisions within the bloc have also emerged, threatening to undermine the EU's collective response to Russian aggression. These divisions are rooted in differing perspectives on the conflict, the economic costs of support for Ukraine, and the potential consequences of escalating tensions with Russia. Josep Borrell's pronouncements about the EU's readiness to support Ukraine have been met with both admiration and skepticism. Some see his words as a plea for American commitment, highlighting the EU's limitations in providing aid to Ukraine. Borrell's gamble could have significant consequences for the EU's relationship with the US and Russia. The coming months will be crucial in determining the success or failure of Borrell's gamble. Germany, Europe's economic powerhouse, has faced growing scrutiny over its perceived reluctance to provide Ukraine with the full extent of military aid it seeks. Chancellor Olaf Scholz's government has been hesitant to approve a new military aid package worth billions of euros proposed by Ukraine's foreign and defense ministries. This hesitation has sparked criticism from some EU partners who argue that Germany must take a more decisive stance against Russian aggression. Scholz's cautious approach stems from a complex interplay of domestic political considerations and Germany's historical aversion to military interventionism. On the domestic front, Scholz faces pressure from within his own coalition government, particularly from the Green Party, to increase Germany's military support for Ukraine. However, he is also wary of alienating voters who are concerned about the economic consequences of sustained military involvement in the conflict. Scholz's balancing act between fiscal prudence, international pressure, and domestic political sensitivities has resulted in a cautious and measured approach to military aid for Ukraine. Slovakia, a small Central European nation heavily reliant on Russian energy, has emerged as an unexpected flashpoint in the EU's response to the Ukraine conflict. Prime Minister Robert Fico, known for his Eurosceptic views, has threatened to halt humanitarian aid to Ukraine, reduce benefits for Ukrainian refugees, and even veto Ukraine's EU membership bid. This dramatic escalation stems from Ukraine's decision to suspend Russian gas transit through its territory, a move that Fico argues has jeopardized Slovakia's energy security and placed an undue burden on Slovakian taxpayers. Fico's ultimatum has sent shockwaves through the EU, exposing the bloc's vulnerability to energy blackmail and highlighting the challenges of maintaining a united front in the face of Russian pressure. While Fico's stance has been met with condemnation from some EU leaders, others have been more understanding of Slovakia's predicament, acknowledging the country's heavy reliance on Russian gas and the economic impact of Ukraine's decision to halt transit. The Slovakian ultimatum serves as a stark reminder that the EU's support for Ukraine is not without its limits. Section 5. The Russian advance. Steady progress in Donetsk and Kursk raises concerns for Ukraine's defense. While the EU grapples with internal divisions and economic anxieties, the situation on the ground in Ukraine remains precarious. Russian forces have made steady, albeit incremental, gains in recent weeks, particularly in the eastern Donbas region. The capture of several settlements in Donetsk and Kursk oblasts, including strategically significant locations like Vuhledar, has raised concerns about the sustainability of Ukraine's defensive lines. The fall of Vuhledar, in particular, represents a significant setback for Ukrainian forces. Its strategic location, overlooking key supply routes to the city of Kupiansk, makes it a crucial stronghold for defending against further Russian advances. The loss of Vuhledar has raised fears that Russia may be preparing for a renewed offensive in the region, potentially aiming to encircle Ukrainian forces in the Donbass. Despite facing significant losses and logistical challenges, Russian forces have demonstrated their ability to adapt and continue their offensive operations. Section 6. A crisis of unity. Internal divisions threaten to undermine the EU's response to Russian aggression. The conflict in Ukraine has exposed deep fissures within the EU, threatening its united front against Russian aggression. Disagreements over the military aid and energy sanctions have marked the EU's response with internal discord. The Slovakian ultimatum to veto Ukraine's EU membership bid highlights this fragility. Economic fallout from the conflict hits member states unevenly, and the lack of a unified energy policy exacerbates tensions. Germany's reliance on Russian gas makes it hesitant to support a full embargo, while Eastern European states push for a decisive break from Russian energy. These divisions are not just differing opinions but strategic calculations. Section 7. The economic fallout. How long can Europe sustain its support for Ukraine? As the war in Ukraine grinds on, the economic fallout from the conflict is increasingly being felt across Europe. Soaring energy prices, supply chain disruptions, and a looming recession are placing a strain on European economies, raising questions about the long-term sustainability of the bloc's support for Ukraine. While the EU has shown remarkable resilience and solidarity in the face of Russian aggression, the economic costs of the conflict are beginning to test the limits of European generosity. The EU's decision to wean itself off Russian energy, while necessary to undercut Putin's war machine, has come at a steep price. Soaring gas and oil prices have fueled inflation, eroded consumer confidence, and placed a heavy burden on businesses and households across Europe. Beyond energy, the conflict has disrupted global supply chains, leading to shortages of key goods and materials. The economic pain is being felt most acutely in Germany, Europe's economic engine, which is heavily reliant on Russian gas. The economic fallout from the war is not only a matter of financial cost. Section 8. The geopolitical chessboard, the Ukraine conflict's implications for global power dynamics. The conflict in Ukraine is not merely a regional crisis, it is a pivotal moment in global geopolitics with far-reaching implications for the international order. The war has shattered Europe's post-Cold War security architecture, exposed the limits of international institutions, and accelerated a shift in global power dynamics. At the heart of this geopolitical earthquake lies a fundamental question. Will the rules-based international order, painstakingly constructed over decades, survive the challenge posed by Russia's aggression? Russia's blatant violation of international law and its disregard for the sovereignty of a neighboring state have shaken the foundations of the rules-based order. The conflict has also highlighted the limitations of international institutions, such as the United Nations Security Council, which has been rendered ineffective by Russia's veto power. The war has also accelerated a shift in global power dynamics, pushing the United States and China towards a more confrontational posture. The outcome of the conflict in Ukraine will have profound implications for the future of global governance. Section 9. A looming question. Will the EU's values survive the crucible of conflict? As the war in Ukraine enters its third year, the European Union faces a profound test of its values and its ability to act as a cohesive force for peace and security in the world. The conflict has exposed the bloc's internal divisions, its economic vulnerabilities, and the limits of its political will. Yet it has also revealed the EU's capacity for solidarity, its commitment to defending democratic values, and its potential to play a more assertive role on the global stage. The EU's response to the crisis has been far from perfect. Its decision-making process has been slow and cumbersome, hampered by internal disagreements and a lack of strategic clarity. Despite these shortcomings, the EU has shown remarkable unity and resolve in the face of Russian aggression. It has imposed unprecedented sanctions on Russia, provided billions of euros in financial assistance to Ukraine, and welcomed millions of Ukrainian refugees with open arms. The war in Ukraine is a defining moment for the European Union.
So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.